So, good morning, sir, and good morning to all my faculty and students and the new joinees. So, it's going to be a shift from statistics to imaging and a little bit of clinical work. So, imaging of atypical HCC and decoding LIRADS. What exactly is LIRADS? For the benefit of those who don't know what is LIRADS, is a liver imaging, reporting and data system. So LIRADS is being used widely all over the world for actually putting all HCC lesions in cirrhotic patients in categories. So like Manya said, a mathematical, more statistical approach to lesions which we look at subjectively. So why is it so important to diagnose HCC on imaging and what exactly is atypical before we move into how we decode atypical HCCs using this LIRADS algorithm? So we know that clinical signs and symptoms overlap in HCC and AFP is not elevated in majority of patients sometimes, especially in atypical group. No elevation even in advanced disease is seen sometimes in HCC. So although AFP is a very robust marker, it is not always the key to help in our imaging diagnosis. Early diagnosis is very critical to optimize survival advantages, and imaging findings alone are sufficient for confident and a very specific diagnosis of HCC without using a biopsy, which is why it is very important to diagnose HCC on imaging. Most importantly, the widely used BCLC criteria, which has curative treatment options, are only available up to stage A. So I've drawn a line here. We know that less than 3 nodules of 3 centimeters each is basically the deadline after which we don't really give patient a lot of survival benefit or pure curative treatment, right? So we need to catch a lesion very early on, and that is why it is a very, very important aspect to have imaging as part of your workup in the beginning itself. So the major imaging features, I'm not going to go into details, it's all freely available on the ACR website, and this has been started by the American College of Radiology. So major features, I'll just show you in the image itself. This is arterial enhancement on a CT, and that's an MR. Any enhancement which does not happen in a rim-like fashion, that means in a target appearance or the classical target appearance that we've all read. If it is not target, then it is a major imaging feature of HCC. If there is an enhancing capsule, for example on CT, you see this faint capsule here, and there is an internal area of hypodensity or low attenuation or a blacker area on CT, and on MR, for example here, then these are major features. There is a non-peripheral washout, which means again it has to be inside the lesion and not outside the lesion. So you must have an enhancing capsule. That means it should be brighter than the rest of the liver. You should have an area which is non-enhancing, which is darker than the rest of the liver, and on the entire in the arterial phase you should have an area inside of the lesion which is brighter than the rest of the liver, right? So this is brighter than the rest of the liver, this is darker than the rest of the liver, and the capsule here, faint enhancement is brighter than the inside of the lesion. So these are the 3 main major criteria with which you diagnose a lesion as HCC, and these are classical CT and MR images. There are 2 new things that LIRADS has added in the year 2018 to basically cooperate and corroborate their findings with the AASLD, which is why they brought out a small version 2018. There'll be a new version coming anytime soon, and I think sir would know more about it as well, because the AASLD works with the ACR to formulate these guidelines. But the 2 more important points are these, that there is an interval growth of more than 50% in less than 6 months, then we can definitely put it in the, and that is for any size. So even if a lesion is 8 millimeters in size and does not make the 1 centimeter cutoff mark, and it shows an increase in the size before 6 months by more than 50% of the original size, then we can very surely say that this can be added to one of the major criteria for diagnosing it as an HCC, and it does not have to be visualized on an ultrasound before we take the patient up for a CT or MR. Now this is a very important point, because now this means that you don't really have to have a lesion seen on ultrasound first and then take the patient for a CT or MR, which means this kind of puts CT and MR as a primary imaging modality for diagnosis of HCC, which I agree is a very good and a robust way to go about it. Now, use of second modality, which we also use as radiologists and as clinicians, we always feel patient had a CT somewhere else or here and we want to see the lesion better. Lyrads is silent on the use of second modality. They do not ask or advise a second modality, but these are just some cases which I picked up. So here is a CT. We don't see the lesion enhancing on the arterial phase. This is the arterial phase, but the same lesion on an MR, I see a lovely area of enhancement for the same lesion. Another lesion, I don't see the washout on MR. I see the washout on MR very well for the same lesion. In the next case, I'm showing you, this is a CT with arterial enhancement, very well seen on CT. But you don't see the washout very well on CT. And here, the same lesion, you see the washout very well on MR. So sometimes you have lesions which do not show enhancement as good on one as the other, and there are lesions which don't show washout on one on the other. So there can be a very good use of second modality in some cases, but this is not a rule and does not hold true for every lesion. So like I said, Lyrads is silent on this and does not recommend any particular modality, and the choice of modality completely depends on the tailoring for every patient, the tolerance, safety, and various other factors, basically a very subjective and not an objective guidelines. Now we are going to go into atypical presentations. We've seen the classical and garden variety, and Lyrads is very clear on that. Those criteria are met, you have a classical HCC, and there is nothing that you need to debate about. What happens when the Lyrads is, why is Lyrads not the, the major key area which is being used worldwide, is the atypical presentation of HCC, and that is the crux of my presentation today. So all these HCCs that I've mentioned here, I'm going to go into them one by one, if time permits, very quickly, are the differential diagnosis of a category called LRM, where M stands for malignancy and not for HCC. So what we understand is there is an LR1 which is completely benign, a 2 which is definitely or probably benign, 3 which is an indeterminate is the area of interest for us, and an LR4 which is again an area of interest for us because LR4 means it is probably HCC but not sure that it's definitely an HCC. So we hang between 3 and 4 in atypical presentations, and here we cannot say whether the lesion is HCC or a non-HCC lesion. If we think it is bent more towards a non-HCC, we classify it as an LRM. So our struggle lies between these three categories, 3, 4 and LRM. When we talk about LRM in the Lyrads algorithm, we actually talk about intrahepatic cholangiocarcinomas or mixed cholangiohepatocellular tumors and other non-HCC malignancies, especially in cirrhotic liver that would be less often seen, but I'm going to show you examples of how we saw those, and would usually include hypervascular metastasis from neuroendocrine tumors or other hypervascular tumors. But having said that, I would like to say that targetoid lesions must be also considered as HCC, and when I now talk henceforth from this slide, it is not going to be the classical variety. So when we talk about targetoid lesions, we are not talking about the garden variety, we are talking about the atypical HCCs, and they can present as targetoid lesions. So the age-old dictum of a target lesion being a metastasis has to be let go or forgotten when we talk about these circumstances. This is again a lot of tables, like I've already discussed these, but I'm just going to take these features in detail as I show you the images. Now here, this is a small, well-differentiated HCC. It has we don't see a very good enhancement. Washout is unclear, but on a delayed phase, we do see some area of enhancement. So some features are met and some are not. Usually small, well-differentiated hepatocellular carcinomas only show arterial enhancement in half the cases, and only moderately and poorly differentiated HCCs show enhancement in 80% cases. So again, we are missing 50% here and 20% here. So even in the best of cases, we may not be able to pick up arterial enhancement, and that in such cases would be a question mark as a criteria. This is a patient with chronic Hep B. We see some patches of enhancement. I don't see a marked lesion. I don't see any capsule or an area of washout. All I see here is a portal vein which is not adequately visualized in its entire course. I also don't see any arterial enhancement in the portal vein, neither a washout in the delayed phase. Totally perplexed. This is a tumor like an infiltrative HCC. It will be very, very easily missed. Even on CTs, it can be easily missed. And sometimes this infiltrative HCCs are picked up on contrast ultrasound. The same lesion that I just showed you is this lesion on ultrasound. We give contrast here and look at the area and patch of enhancement. The background liver remains dark, and here is a lesion seen on ultrasound. But here, well, I'm showing you a very classical lesion on ultrasound. Not all of them would enhance. Some may not, depending on the degree of differentiation. Portal vein thrombosis would be the clue here, but it may not always be a tumor in vein. For example, in this case, again, this lesion is called a cirrhosis like HCC. So there is tumoral thrombosis, but we have only classical arterial streaks in the thread and streak appearance in the portal vein. But where is the mass? We don't see, there is no mass lesion here. Only a thrombus enhancing in the portal vein. In such a situation, one must think of cirrhosis like HCC, which is nothing but an infiltrative HCC in a different form. What are the etiologies of such a lesion? In the portal vein, it could be HCC, it could not be an HCC, it could be a non-HCC, or we could be unsure about it. Hence, this category goes to LIRADS M, or sometimes if you see some lesion or a radiologist looks at it, would call it probably a 3 or a 4, but it may get labeled as LRM. Right, so this is the lesion here. We don't see an area washout, and there was this cystic, bizarre looking lesion beyond it, and this turned out to be an HCC on biopsy. So all these lesions that I'm showing you are biopsy. Now, like I said, the pattern, fat within HCC has been taken as a very important ancillary finding in lesions, and I'll show you 3 varieties of fat that we see. Now, this is a mosaic pattern. We're all familiar with what a mosaic looks like, and this is a lesion here. It shows enhancement, and see, you have the same pattern with areas of hypertenuation. These are nothing but fat, and then as we go down inferiorly, there is a larger lesion, area of fat within this larger mass lesion, and you see a capsule, and then you see some areas of washout. This lesion remains little hypertense. So it is a very heterogeneous lesion. If I didn't know that this was a cirrhotic liver, I would keep other differentials, but since LIRADS is applicable only to lesions with hepatitis B, C and cirrhotic patients, NASH is still not a spectrum of LIRADS panel, but they are now considering, and it's probably going to be added in the next version, which is about to come probably this year. And so I'm going to touch on that as well. So this would be upgraded to an LR4 when I see fat within a lesion. So from a lesion being indeterminate and sitting in the borderline at 3, I have moved to 4 only with the presence of fat, and if I'm able to pick it up on my imaging. Numbers are not needed, you all know that. So now this is a patient with NASH. Look at this lesion, no enhancement seen at the periphery or within, just standing out as an exophytic area. There is some sort of enhancement, it's heterogeneous. I do see another lesion there, and I wouldn't know whether there are more lesions within this liver because there are some sort of ill-defined lesions. We were very sure that this is going to be a multifocal HCC, and we had this lesion biopsied. And this turned out to be a fatty metamorphosis of the entire lesion. So this entire lesion is got fat in it, and there is barely any soft tissue, unlike the lesion we saw previously, which is why we don't see the arterial enhancement or the washout pattern. So fat is a big masker. Fat can mask a lesion if it engulfs the entire lesion within. You cannot see the enhancement pattern, and one has to be very, very careful in reporting such cases. So we've seen 2 kinds of fats. Now we come to the third one. If there is reduced enhancement in a lesion, such as this, you see there is fat in the liver. This is an MR image. This is an in and a post phase. So wherever the liver is getting darker, for example here, this is all fat within the liver. And just because there is fat in the liver, so the nodules that arise in the same liver are bound to also have fat. But again, that's not 100%, but it will happen more often than other livers, which is why NASH needs to be included in the LIRADS algorithm as well. Now, these are lesions with enhancement. This is the same lesion, enhances. Some sort of washout is there and a mild capsule. So we had given this also as an HCC. This was a patient with NASH and lesion with fat called HCC. Now, what does this lesion look like? Looks very similar to the one we just saw, right? So what is the diagnosis? Everybody knows. Now, this is a HCC. We think this is an HCC with fat in it. Bingo, we got it. Now what happens? There were multiple lesions again with this lesion, multiple small lesions we found. Largest with a large area of internal fat. We thought this is either a HCC or a hypervascular metastasis. Could be, doesn't seem like it because it's a cirrhotic liver. We did an FNA, it turned out to be a metastatic neuroendocrine tumor. So one has to be always wary of such lesions. Nothing can be 100% sure on imaging, but we do make intelligent diagnosis as per our scientific algorithms and go about it and then talk about the LIRADS marking in that. Now I've just put this lesion to show that Leyrat's is completely silent on the rupture of tumors and how we are supposed to grade those. Now this is an HCC, this is a hypervascular lesion. It has ruptured. Rupture is seen in few lesions, very rarely in about 1 to 2% cases. Patient presents primarily to us with hemoperitoneum. I don't know whether this patient had HCC earlier. The only clue I have is probably going for an AFP level, and we see this hypervascularity. We see tumor rupture here. There is good amount of hemoperitoneum happening. There has probably been some trauma, or it was a spontaneous rupture. We don't know. So we have to keep this category again for Leyrat's, and since we are decoding the Leyrat's, we are also taking out the lacunae of Leyrat's, and Leyrat's is quiet and silent on this category. So just wanted to show you that. Now another lesion, this is a very non-enhancing or a hypovascular lesion, doesn't look like an SCC at all. Here it has some sort of an exophytic margin, no areas of washout. That's the CT, and this is the MR image. This is the CT again. I see some conglomerating lesions. I see a little bit of exophytic extension, no portal vein involvement, no vascular involvement. We thought this could be just abscesses conglomerating together. It didn't look very aggressive as a lesion, and when we biopsied it, we thought it's a visceral larva, and when we biopsied it, turned out to be a HCC. So such false positive diagnosis will happen. Now this is again a rare case, there's cystic degeneration in the entire tumor. We do see multiple lesions, but this looks more like a picture of a patient with hypervascular metastasis and probably necrosis or liquefaction of one of these. If you look at this enhancing area, this big nodule or chunk of a nodule lies within the entire cystic tumor. So the tumor is cystic, there is only a small area which enhances on the arterial phase, and it shows some sort of washout. So predominantly it's a cystic tumor with some part of it being HCC. This was actually an HCC with the entire tumor having cystic degeneration. I've shown this case before, but I just wanted to show that how it involves the bile duct. This is a lesion here. We thought this is a bile duct tumor arising from the bile duct wall, but we were wrong. This was actually an HCC which had encased and infiltrated along the bile duct wall. This is a stent in the bile duct, and when this was operated, entire thing was taken out, and this is the mass and this is the bile duct. Chagan, please correct me if I'm wrong. This is a lesion on MR, and that's the bile duct wall being encased. So an example of bile duct being encased by the lesion. Another lesion, internal hemorrhage. This is small area of hyperintensity on an MR. Dark area on MR, fat, bright hemorrhage, dark fat on the post-phase image, and some sort of enhancement is happening here, little bit of washout, unsure of the findings, but there is definite washout on the delayed phase. What's happening to this tumor? On the coronal images on a delayed phase, we see that this tumor is extending into the bile duct. So the last one was a bile duct wall tumor exophytically seen outside, and this is a tumor coming from inside a solitary lesion and invading along the bile duct and invading the lumen of the bile duct. So two kinds of invasion, very atypical of HCC. When we see these kind of hypervascular metastases in patients, we always suspect RCC or other very vascular aggressive tumors, and usually don't see it in HCC. So this I just wanted to show you because this is an HCC and had hypervascular metastasis. I've talked about spectral CT earlier, and because we want to all think mathematically, it only helps us quantify the iodine enhancement. So where we don't see an enhancement on subjective, like I see it, you don't see it, or third person sees it, then spectral CT can come to our rescue and tell us whether there is actual enhancement on the tumor. This is the tumor, and this is the aorta, and that's the background liver. So I know that there is enhancement compared to the background liver, and which is what I'm looking for in an HCC. Venous involvement is less often seen. Here we see hepatic venous involvement involving the IVC and going into the right atrium. Another lesion with adrenal bilateral mets. Both are HCCs and multiple pulmonary deposits in an HCC. Very atypical findings. Completely exophytic lesion arising from the left lobe. We never thought this could be an HCC. It turned out to be a fibrolaminar HCC in a 57-year-old lady. Usually FLC will involve young male patients, and this was a atypical case. So I just wanted to show you. Again, a very large, well-defined tumor. We thought this would be a classical HCC or a garden variety, and it turned out to be a fibrolamellar carcinoma in this young male. I'm not going to go into details of that. Let's look at a cholangio mixed hepatocellular carcinoma. This looks like a classical cholangiocarcinoma, but if you look at the arterial phases, there is some sort of enhancement happening on the periphery. This is the arterial phase, some sort of enhancement here. We're not sure, but it does have mixed features. There's involvement of the portal veins, there's enhancement of the tumor. And when you have mixed features, we must think of a mixed category of a tumor, which is what this was. If you look at the corners, it's much nicely seen here. There's enhancement and there's washout as well as biliary dilatation. This is different from the one we saw earlier. There is no invasion of the bile duct. This is involving the bile duct, and there are some hepatocytes which are also turning malignant. So both cells are going into atypia and you have a combined or a mixed tumor. In the same liver, you can have two lesions. For example, here, this is a classical HCC and this is a cholangiocarcinoma. No mixing, different tumors arising together in the same liver. Very, very atypical and very, very rare case. Abscess can be misleading sometimes and comes in with the PCD to us. This is the first time it's come to us. We didn't suspect this was an abscess because it looked like it had a lot of solid component on the periphery. It was a necrotic HCC, thought to be an abscess, and a PCD was inserted into it. Similar lesion like I showed you earlier looks like an HCC, but lo and behold, it turned out to be a neuroendocrine tumor. Solitary lesion must always go in for a PET CT if there are other no tumor markers supporting it. This was something we learned from. There was a solitary lesion resected, thinking it was an HCC, turned out to be a neuroendocrine tumor. Must go in for a PET for such lesions when we have the facility, and then look for any other primary before we go in for surgery or any other radical therapy. Hypervascular metastasis from neuroendocrine tumor doesn't look like a classical neuroendocrine tumor only because there is fat in the liver. When there is a fatty liver, such lesions may be easily missed or misdiagnosed as less vascular than what they actually are. I will not go into details of this. This is turned out to be a spindle cell sarcoma. Again, an HCC turned out to be an adenoma. This is a classical non-hypervascular HCC, but because it has some component, we asked for an FNA. It looked sinister, and it turned out to be an HCC. Just wanted to show you one example of dysplastic nodule. We don't usually get such good examples of dysplastic nodules. A lesion hyper intense or bright on T1, dark on T2, not restricting on diffusion means it doesn't show any cellular atypia on diffusion restriction images and does not show any enhancement on any of the images but stands out as a lesion or a nodule. We must think of a dysplastic nodule and we must keep this kind of a lesion under observation because these are the ones that will turn into HCC in a few years. I will just conclude with the study that we did last year and we published it recently. We took out all the cases of CTs and MRs we did in ILBS for the past 10 years. The number of HCCs we had reported were almost 3,000 and total biopsies, cytologies and explants of HCCs which had imaging correlation were taken out and they were 10% of the total, almost 302 cases, thanks to Dr. Archana and her team. And then we tried to check whether our LIRADS algorithm versus the qualitative imaging, which means before LIRADS we would diagnose a lesion with other features. So we took out those cases, we blinded a reader to that and to LIRADS and we independently took out our observations and checked which imaging modality, which kind of method of reporting was better. We found that with qualitative imaging as well, we could see correctly classified lesions almost to the tune of 87% of these biopsy lesions. We had characterized them well. You can go into the details of this table and other part because of interest of time. I'm not going to go into the details of the study. But when I say qualitative, I meant subjective reporting. We could pick 87% of the lesions. However, with LIRADS, we did have a little higher sensitivity, PPV and NPV, and a little higher diagnostic accuracy of about 90%. So we did go up about 3 to 4% in these lesions. And when we combine both qualitative and LIRADS imaging, we could get a better result and we could apply qualitative markers and not just LIRADS and take out, using both techniques. They kind of complemented each other. We had about 38 discordant cases on imaging and pathology, which means we did not agree as per our first initial diagnosis with histopathology. And majority of these lesions, surprisingly, turned out to be in the LIRADS 4 category. That means we had called it probably HCC and they probably turned out to be either false positive or otherwise, which I feel is not a bad thing because it's better to think that the lesion is HCC and work aggressively on that lesion as a malignancy rather than miss out a malignancy and say that, okay, this is not an HCC and follow up the lesion in LIRADS 3. So the take home from that we felt was that usually atypical HCCs are being seen in active younger and middle age groups. Age was a very important thing in one of our studies. Lesion size were also, which is always supposed to be, very important, as in 1 to 2 centimeters. Even in lesions less than 1 centimeter or more than 3 centimeters, we did find atypical tumors, and it was not always possible to use a Lyrad's algorithm to classify them. And we could safely say that imaging alone was able to predict 86% of even atypical cases. We are not talking about the garden variety. So I think at some point imaging will be able to classify a lot of these lesions, because the call that you need to take for management or survival does not really depend on biopsy after a certain stage, and we know this is a malignant lesion. I think the pathways can be usually narrowed down to just 1 or 2, and they could be applied without subjecting the patient to biopsies. I will summarize with just 3 main points: that the Lyrad's, especially the latest algorithm with qualitative imaging or subjective imaging that we apply on a day-to-day basis, and with years of expertise in the same, as a combination technique, adds extra value interpretation of atypical, suspicious or indeterminate lesions vis-a-vis using just Lyrad's or qualitative imaging separately. Both the versions of reporting are almost equally specific and sensitive for the diagnosis of this category of lesions, as standalone techniques, of course, are good complementarily. Quick and definitive histopathology of lesions is very important for lesions which are suspicious or indeterminate for HCC, and should not be followed up for 3 to 6 months or more, which is what is being prescribed by the American groups or Lyrad's otherwise, so as to expedite the management of HCC in this unique subset of patients, because the more we delay them, the more they come back with bigger lesions or progressive disease, and then we are not able to help them to the extent that we should be able to. And that is what we were able to find out in this study. Thank you very much, and I can take some questions if time permits.